Hi everybody, it's Brooke from Quagensia, and in this video I will show you how you can download this free point-and-click TradeStation strategy from our website at Quagensia.com and how you can build it completely without code using point-and-click in Quagensia T Edition. This point-and-click strategy is a moving average crossover strategy that goes long when a fast-moving average crosses above a slow-moving average and goes short when the fast-moving average crosses below the slow-moving average. If the strategy is currently long and the fast-moving average crosses below the slow-moving average, it will reverse its position from long to short by exiting the long position and entering a short position. If the strategy is currently short and the fast-moving average crosses above the slow-moving average, it will reverse its position from short to long by exiting the short position and entering a long position. The strategy also exits its long or short position when a profit target is reached if this strategy's use profit target input parameter is set to true in the TradeStation user interface. Let's get started. First, to follow along, click the link below this video to go to this strategy's webpage at the Quagensia.com website. It will look something like this. If you haven't already installed Quagensia T Edition, you can do so from this link. When you click this button, you can download Quagensia T Edition and install it on a Windows computer. When you do this, it will look something like this. Here's a start page with useful links. Here's the Algo Explorer with all your algos, including the free point-and-click strategies from Quagensia that you can use as is and customize without code. Over 1,000 functions, which you can use in your strategies. And the My Algos folder, which is where you will create algos and where you will put algos such as this one that we'll download. Now back on the web page, let's go ahead and click the download link so we can download this strategy. It will scroll down the page and you can click on the download the zip file link. Go ahead and open the zip file. Extract it. And now we have an extracted T Edition strategy file. It's a QSTX file. Click on it and select Copy. Now go back to Quagensia T Edition. Open the My Algos folder like this. And paste the strategy. And then the application will ask you if you want to reload the algo database. Just say yes so the Algo Explorer can reload. It did, and there you have it. It's the moving average crossover, long-short reversal with profit target trading strategy. Let's go ahead and open it. This is the point-and-click Quagensia T Edition strategy that we downloaded from the website. Its input parameters section has input parameters such as fast moving average period of 12 and slow moving average period of 50. And you can see the input parameters for a strategy that you've added to a chart. When you click on Customize, and here you have the fast moving average period of 12 and the slow moving average period of 50. And not only can you edit these values from the user interface without changing the code again, but you can also optimize over these input parameters. Scrolling down to the internal variables section, we have an orange fast moving average and a blue slow moving average. And we can see those on the chart as an orange fast moving average and a blue slow moving average. The internal variables section also has 3 internal variables that we will use to calculate the profit target amount and to print it out to the Easy Language print log. Scrolling down to the WinBar update section, this is where the core logic of our strategy occurs. This is where, when there's a moving average crossover, we go long and draw a blue vertical line. And when there is a moving average cross under, we go short and draw a pink vertical line. And in both cases, we print to the print log with the primary data series timestamp, so we can see which bar the information was printed for. And looking at our chart, we have blue vertical lines for going long, and then we have a pink vertical line for the signal bar, and then we go short, and so forth. And then here is the information that prints out to the easy language print log. See, here you have the bar timestamp, and you have the long entry signal, and it shows a close price. In the last part of the WinBar update section, if the input parameter use a profit target is set to true in the TradeStation user interface, the profit target will be calculated and set. And then if another input parameter called print debugging info is set to true, the information that was used to calculate the profit target will be printed to the print log with the primary data series timestamp. And it prints out all the information that may have been used in the calculation. That's it. Let's go ahead and create the code for this strategy and apply it to a chart in TradeStation. But before we do that, let's go ahead and change the colors of the moving averages just so we can see that the changes we made have been applied to the strategy. So you can see how that works. So we changed the orange fast moving average to a yellow one. We changed the blue slow moving average to a green one. And now we're ready to generate its code and copy it to the clipboard and get this strategy inside of TradeStation so we can backtest it. So first, let's go ahead and generate its code and copy it to the clipboard by pressing this button. So the code was successfully generated and copied to the clipboard. So now we're going to go ahead and go to TradeStation and click on the Easy Language Editor button. It says Easy Language. And let's create a new strategy. So new file, new strategy. Let's call it QMA profit target. And since we have the entire strategy's code on the clipboard, just go ahead and paste it into this blank canvas. So you could right-click on the canvas and say paste, or you could say Control-V, however you want to do it. All right, so now the code is in this strategy document called QMA profit target. Let's go ahead and compile its code. Great, so it's compiled and it's ready to be applied to a chart so we can backtest it. So back to the TradeStation desktop, and let's open a chart. This is the E-mini. Let's go ahead and make it daily. And let's go ahead and apply our strategy to the chart. So right-click, Studies, Add Strategy, and we called it QMA profit target. So say OK. We can customize it. So I think we'll just leave the input parameters as defaults. The 12 period fast moving average, 50 period slow moving average, and so forth. In properties for all, we can set slippage and commissions. So for commission, let's say it is per share, say $4.95. And the position slippage per share or contract, it's actually per side. So we'll say it's one tick, which is $12.50 in and out. So it's a $25 round trip slippage. And we're good. Let's go ahead and apply this strategy to the chart. Fantastic. So we've now applied the strategy to a chart. We can see long and short trades. We can see the vertical blue and pink lines. We can see our fast and slow yellow and green moving averages plotted on the last 100 bars. And if you've watched our hour-long Introduction to Quagensia T Edition video, you know why we just plot them in the last 100 bars. Let's go ahead and plot the yellow and green indicators on the last 1,000 bars. So go ahead and right-click on the chart, Studies, Edit Strategies, and Customize. And there's this Show Plot Number of Bars Back. Let's make it 1,000. Great, so now it looks more like what I showed you in the first part of this video. And you'll know if you've watched the Introduction to Quagensia T Edition video that the best way to get indicators on charts is to manually add the visual indicator from within TradeStation instead of plotting our calculations of the indicators with our Quagensia T Edition plotting code. So that your chart will run faster. So you can watch the hour-long Introduction to Quagensia T Edition video told about the trade-offs between plotting the plot from within T Edition and plotting the actual visual indicators, which you can do from Studies, Add Study, and then this one we were using the QEMA. So you could add this moving average QEMA to the chart manually from within TradeStation. And you would use a period of 12 or 50 or whatever you're using for your indicators from Quagensia T Edition, and then it will match perfectly. It should match perfectly with the calculated plots, the calculated yellow and green plots that you're looking at now. Okay, but we won't do that right now. Okay, great, so that's it. So at this point, I have shown you how you can download this free point-and-click TradeStation strategy from our website, and how you can open it in Quagensia T Edition, generate its code, and get it into TradeStation so you can apply it to a chart and backtest it. Let's go ahead now and build it from scratch. So for that, let's go ahead and go back to Quagensia T Edition. And here we're looking at the one we downloaded. Let's go ahead and move it to the right. So here you have this, you have the ability to move strategies between tabs. You can have tab groups. Let's go ahead and hide the Algo Explorer so we have more room. And let's go ahead and create a new Quagensia T Edition strategy. And I will move this new one over to the tab on the left. So what we have now is on the right side, we have the strategy we downloaded from the website, which we're going to build from scratch. And over here, we have an empty strategy. So let's go ahead and create the logic from this strategy over here. And this is a great way to learn how to use Quagensia T Edition. You're basically, you can download any strategy, open it in the right-hand side, and on the left side, you can just go item by item and build it. Let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and save some time by copying and pasting from the right one to the left one. So for strategy name, I'll just copy it over. For this one, this is the name on disk. We'll choose a shorter name because it'll be the name of folders and file names. You can fill in the description and notes later. And in the strategy details section is a very important change. Notice how in the one from the website, the stop loss units applies to all strategies on chart is set to $2 per contract share. Let's go ahead and do this over here. Let's not use default value. Let's set to $2 per contract share. And this affects the way that the profit target is calculated. Let's go ahead and create these input parameters over here. So first one, I'll copy and paste fast moving average. It's a whole number because it's the number of bars back to calculate the moving average. Default's 12. Add it. The slow moving average is also a whole number, defaults to 50. Add it. The use a profit target input parameter is a Boolean true or false, and it defaults to true, so we're going to make it true just by clicking on it. The profit target percent is a decimal number, so we'll add it, and we're going to default it to 4%, which is 0.04. The order quantity, we're talking about E-mini contracts here. It's not stock. So let's go ahead and just make the quantity 1, just one contract. And then we have a print debugging info Boolean input parameter. Defaults to true. All right, so that's it. So you can see here we've matched the input parameters from over here. It's pretty fast. Now let's go ahead and create the internal variables here that are over here. So first of all, let's create our fast moving average. It's a read-only time series, see read-only time series. And we're using the quadruple exponential moving average, the QEMA. Let's go ahead and find that. It's a moving average. And just note, there's over 170 indicators and chart patterns built into Quagensia T Edition. And you can add your own. If you have your own custom easy language functions that are based on indicators, you can add them to Quagensia T Edition as well. So the quadruple exponential moving average, the QEMA, is here. We will plot it. Instead of yellow, let's make it aqua. Instead of solid, we'll make it dots. All right, that's it. So we'll add it. It's now added. And let's go ahead and do the slow moving average. Copy it over. Read-only time series. And it's also a quadruple exponential moving average, a QEMA. We will plot it. Let's make it, dark blue is fine. Add it. And now we've added both the fast and slow quadruple exponential moving averages that we will use for our moving average crossovers. Let's go ahead and add these three variables, which you'll see how they're used in a bit. We have the profit target amount. It's a decimal number. We'll start off at -1. For us, that will just mean not set yet. There's a is entry signal bar or tick Boolean internal variable, defaults to false. There's a using close price instead of entry price for profit target calculation Boolean variable, defaults to false. Right, so that's it. We just finished the internal variable section. So everything from this internal variable section is now over here in this internal variable section. Let's go ahead and create all the logic from this WinBar update section into this WinBar update section. So the first thing is we are setting this is entry signal bar or tick internal variable to false. We do that every bar update. So to set a variable in Quagensia T Edition, you can click here on Add Trading Logic and say Set a Variable, and then find the variable. It's is entry signal bar or tick. is equal to false. So set item, enter hard-coded value, and there is false. The next thing we have to do is add an if, else if conditional block. So if and otherwise if or else if, so that we can go long or short. So for that, we will click on Add Trading Logic and Conditional Trading Logic, and then we'll choose else. We'll choose an if, else if block right here. These four and this do once if, these are not the only ones you can choose from. You can create an if, else if block, for instance, which has an if and an otherwise if, or an if and an else if. You can keep on creating otherwise if clauses at the end. You can add an else at the end. So what we'd have here, so we just made a custom if, otherwise if, otherwise if, otherwise if, otherwise. And you can even create if, else if blocks inside of these others. So let's go ahead and clear this out. Because for this strategy, we just need a simple one. We just need an if and an otherwise if. Great. So in this if, we need a condition over here. We need, if the market position is not long, so it's flat or short, then consider going long. So if you don't, I know where market position is, but if you don't, to find it, you can just click here. In the search box, maybe search for flat. Yep, so market position current from as a choice from a list, long, short, or flat. So go ahead and add this function to your algo at the location you specified. And we'll say is not, because see here it's not equal to long. We'll choose not equal to long. And the next one is it says and if the current bar, the moving average, crossed above the current bar, the slow moving average. Let's go ahead and add that. So click here. And by the way, all this sort of adding conditions and ands and ors is covered in the Introduction to Quagensia T Edition video. So we'll just, you should watch that to learn even more. So we'll do cross above. And since our fast moving average is an internal variable, we will find it under set item, input parameters and internal variable, and there it is, fast moving average. And the slow moving average, same place. That's it. So we now have the condition to if we are not long and there's a cross up, let's go long, or reverse from short to long. So what do we do over here? Well, first of all, we set the is entry signal bar or tick to true. And you'll see why we use that in the profit target % calculation later. So to set a variable, you already know, but it's you click on Add Trading Logic and say set a variable. That's the variable. And then let's set it equal to true, because since we are entering on this bar, it is the entry signal bar or tick. Remember, we set it to false every bar, and then if it enters into the if or else if, which we'll do in a minute, we will set the is entry signal bar or tick from false to true. So later on, down in the WinBar update logic, we'll know that it was an entry bar. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is let's go ahead and enter a long position using a market order. To do that, submit an order, enter a long position using a market order. Great. And for the quantity, instead of hard coding 1, let's choose our input parameter called order quantity. So you can make it 10 or 100 if it's a stock maybe. Great. And now let's go ahead and here we draw a vertical line. So do that. It's draw something, lines, draw a vertical line. Bars to go is 0. 0 means the current bar. 10 means 10 bars before the current bar. So we've entered long and we've drawn a blue, an aqua vertical line. Let's go ahead and add the print-to-print log with primary data series timestamp for that. That is under output alerts and logging, print to log output window, print-to-print log with primary data series timestamp. I'll copy the text, LE signal, long entry signal, close price. And let's go ahead and add the close of the current bar, the close price of the current bar to this word, this phrase. So the way you add words to words in Quagensia T Edition is you click on this gear icon here, and you say this piece of text plus a new piece of text. And the way you get current bar of close over here is that would be under price data close. And you see how this is vertically aligned? This is horizontal. Horizontal, this is okay here, but if you keep adding text to text, it can get long and go out there. So what you can do is you can click here and say, align these items vertically instead of horizontally. If you don't want to be vertical anymore, you can make it horizontal by clicking on that and say, align these items horizontally instead of vertically. But let's make it match this. So click on this and say, align these items vertically instead of horizontally. And you can do that for arithmetic expressions too, like this plus that minus that. You can always click a thing that's too wide, and you can say, align these items vertically instead of horizontally. And then that means that you'll have more space over here, and it will go down, it'll go up and down instead of left to right. Great. So we finished the long entry logic. Let's go ahead and now do the short entry logic. So here what we have is if the market position is not short and the fast moving average crosses below the slow moving average, let's go ahead and do all the short stuff. Okay, so for that, instead of building this from scratch, let's just copy and paste. So for that, we can copy and paste this entire. You can copy and paste this and this separately, but in this case, because it's exactly parallel, let's copy both at the same time. So click on this, copy, paste. And all you have to do now is say, since we see here, it's if market position is not equal to short. Okay, so not equal to short. And if the current bar, the fast moving average, crosses below the slow moving average, so for that we'll say if the fast moving average crosses, this is above, let's make it below. Great, so that was faster than doing it the first time. What's next? Okay, so now at this point, if we're not short and there's a cross below, we're going to go short or reverse from long to short. Well, first it looks like we set this variable again, is entry to signal bar or tick to true. So for that, let's go ahead and go up here and just copy and paste it. Copy. Paste. Great, because it is an entry signal bar. We are going to enter. The next thing to do, we're going to enter a short position using a market order. So for that, submit an order, enter short position using a market order. And the quantity, let's copy and paste order quantity. So copy and paste, instead of a hard-coded 1, we'll use the order quantity input parameter, so you can pass 100 if you want to pass 100 for stocks or something. The next thing is we're going to draw a pink vertical line. On the current bar, not the bar 10 bars ago. And let's make it like a lighter pink, not the hot pink. That's actually the same. Hold on. Let's make it a hot pink, just so you can see it's different than the one we've already added to the chart. Okay, and then what's next? Okay, so print to print log. Let's go ahead and copy and paste that from our long if block. So copy, paste, Great. And it says instead of LE signal, it's SE signal. And it's also the close, so the close. Great. So we've now done all of the long and short entries and reversals. The part that's left, it's probably the hardest part, and it is if the input parameter use a profit target is set to true, we're going to calculate what it should be, and we're going to set the profit target. And we're going to print out all the information that we use to calculate it to the easy language print log. So let's get started. So first, we have to have an if block that says if use if profit target is equal to true. Let's do that. The input parameter named use a profit target if it's equal to true. Then the first thing, you see this yellow, this comment in code? Let's go ahead and add one of those. So whenever you want to remember what you've done, or if you want to share your Quagensia T Edition strategy with a colleague, you can create comments, yellow blurbs, yellow comments throughout your logic, and just write down what you were thinking, what you did, what is left to do, so that you or other people can see or remember what was done. So to add this comment in code, over here, click on Add Trading Logic, and it's under More Actions, Appearance Only Items. And here you'll see two things. So you see the comment in code, that's just the yellow comment in code blurb you saw. And here's the blank line in code action, which what it will do is, if you ever want to add a blank line in code, or one or two or three blank lines in code between different actions, like a submit an order or something, you can click this to add a blank line in code. But for now, we'll just add a comment in code. So I'll just copy this text over here. So now we've seen how you add a comment in your code. The next thing is an example of a nested if. So notice how here we have if the following condition is true, and then inside of the if, so if use a profit target is true, and if these things are true. So let's go ahead and build that. This is a nested if. It's an if nested inside of another if. Let's take a closer look at it first. So it's if we are flat, or the entry signal bar or tick variable is set to true. You know, it's an entry bar. Then we'll use the close price to calculate the profit target amount. But if we are long or short, or we are not an entry signal bar, then we will use the entry price of the current position to calculate the profit target from the percent. So first off, let's see. This is an if otherwise. The one above was an if the following condition is true, otherwise if the following condition is true. So that was an if else if. But this one down here is an if the following condition is true, otherwise do the following, not otherwise if. So let's go ahead and add an if otherwise. So over here, it's if else, or if otherwise. The long and short entries were if else ifs. This is an if else. Okay. Next, we have if the market position is flat, or if we are an entry signal bar, and this is the internal variable we set up here. So if we're going to do a short entry or a long entry, we'd set the internal variable. So that's how this is used. let's go ahead and do this over here. So first of all, we've already done one of these. Let's copy this. So first of all, it's if it's equal to flat, not equal. So it's if is equal to if we are flat, or, not and, but or. So, or this internal variable is entry signal bar tick is equal to true. So if internal variable called is entry signal bar or tick is equal to true. So if we're flat or if we're an entry bar, then let's go ahead and calculate the profit target amount using the close price, not the entry price of a position. So first we'll set this variable, which will be used later. So let's set this using close price instead of entry price for profit target calculation is equal to true. Then we do this mathematical calculation to actually set the profit target amount internal variable. So set the profit target amount is equal to this product. It's the current bar of the close, so it's the current close price times the big point value, which for E-minis is $50, for stocks it's $1, times the profit target percent internal the profit target percent input parameter. So let's do that. The close is under price data close. We're going to multiply this by the big point value. So click on the number. The current bar of close is a decimal value, and you can always click on a number and get all the arithmetic expressions. So you have plus, minus, multiplied by, and divide by. So this number times a new number. And let's go ahead and make this go vertical instead of horizontal because it's going to get too wide. So click on the gear icon and say align these items vertically instead of horizontally. And now we have to get big point value in there. So to do that, go to, let's search for a big point. Click on it and add this function to your algo at the location you specified. And let's multiply this by profit target percent input parameter. Great, so we did it. So otherwise, so if we are flat or it's an entry signal bar, then calculate the profit target amount using the close price. Otherwise, calculate the profit target amount using the entry price of the position we are currently in, the short or the long position we are currently in. Let's do that. So first we have to set this to false. So up here we set it to true. We'll use this later. So we're going to copy and we're going to paste it. And to set it to false, just click on the true, it turns false. And now let's create this. So first of all, this is almost this. So we'll just copy this and paste, and then let's just change the current bar of close. See, its big point value is the same, profit target percent is the same. We just need to change this to entry price for position X positions ago. So to find that, well, I'll show you another way to find things. So if you put your mouse pointer over the gear icon of anything that you see on the algo workspace, you can see in that tooltip that appears, you can see the tooltip that appears. You see how it says location of this function in the context menu, replace item, more expressions, order fills and positions, position info, entry price for positions X positions ago. Let's go ahead and go to more expressions, order fills and positions, position info, and we'll find it. So more expressions, orders, fills, and positions, position info, and there it is, entry price for position X positions ago. We found that using a tooltip of an item on another algo canvas. Great. And we want the fill price for the number of positions ago 0, so the current position. So if we're currently long, it will be the entry price for the long position. If we're currently short, it'll be the entry price for the short position. Great. So the next step here is we're going to set the profit target to this internal variable that we're actually going to set the actual profit target now. So we did all this work to calculate the number of dollars per share that we want to set the profit target to. So now we're going to get out of this if otherwise. It's right here. And we're going to say money management and profit targets, and we have set profit target total dollar amount or dollars per share per contract. So note that this calculation we just did for percent, where we convert percent to a dollar amount, that's going to apply to stop loss orders. And so a lot of the logic we just did, you have things like stop loss orders, trailing stops, break even stops. It's not just for profit targets. So these sort of calculations should help you in the future. So let's go ahead and let's click on set profit target. And instead of $100 per share or per contract, let's go ahead and set it to this internal variable we just set. Great, we did it. So we now have all of our logic for the whole strategy done. The only thing left is just to print out a bunch of debugging information. So let's see how fast we can do this. So if the following condition is true, print debugging info is equal to true. Okay. Print debugging info as an input parameter is equal to true. Then we're going to print log with primary data series timestamp. Let's copy text to save time. So let's also make it vertical so it won't get too wide. I'm just copying everything over here, over here. So it's the name of the variable, and then we put the variable there, or the name of the input parameter and put the input parameter there. And if you wondered what the using close price instead of entry price for profit target calculation internal variable is used for, and we set it here and we set it here, the only thing it's for is just for the debugging information, so we know on every bar, are we using the close price or are we using the entry price to calculate the profit target on that bar? That's what it's for. It had no functional value, it just has a debugging value so you can troubleshoot. The isEntrySignal bar or tick internal variable. The close price of the current bar under price data, close. The entry price for open position, and this one we're doing it in 2 lines just so it wouldn't be too wide. You can do it all in 1 line, but then it gets really wide. And here the warning is this: entry price for open position could be old position info if currently flat or is entry bar or tick. It warns you in the easy language print log. It's that. We actually had that up here. Copy it. Next one is big point value. Actually, I won't copy it from there. I'll copy it from here. And finally, we have the profit target percent input parameter. We'll print that to the easy language print log as well. We finished. Okay, so we've now completed the strategy, but there's a couple things I forgot to do way early on. And we're going to go back before we generate the code and send our strategy to TradeStation. There's a couple things I want to fix. First of all, I shouldn't have copied the name of the strategy from the one from the website exactly. I should have called it like 2 or something, so that we can differentiate it in the My Algos folder. Otherwise, you'll have 2 strategies with the exact same name. Similarly, let's go ahead and change the folder and file name on disk. Add a 2 to it as well. So the one that we just created from scratch will be suffixed with a 2, and the one from the website has no suffix. That's the first of 2 errors I made. The next one has to do with the indicators. You'll notice in the internal variables section, you see here, the one from the website, we had fast moving average. And what did we use for, so here we have the QEMA, the quadruple exponential moving average. The length was actually the fast moving average period input parameter up here. But here I forgot to do that. I just added the QEMA to the algo workspace, and I forgot to change the 10 to our input parameter. So let's go ahead, and since this is the fast moving average, let's change the length from a 10 to the input parameter called fast moving average period. And then over here, same thing, the slow moving average indicator from the strategy from the website, the length is slow moving average period, the input parameter. Here I forgot to change it from a hard-coded value. So slow moving average, length of 10, we're going to change it to slow moving average period. And that's it. We're finished. We have now recreated the strategy we downloaded from the website using point and click in Quagensia T Edition. We haven't saved it yet, so let's go ahead and do that. But first, let's move this over here so we have more space. So now we're just looking at the one that we built from scratch. And let's move the splitter bar to the right so we can see the Algo Explorer again. So in your My Algos folder, here's the one from the website called ProfTgt with no suffix. The one that we just created, we're going to name ProfTgt 2. So let's go ahead and save this now. So we're going to generate the code and copy to clipboard, and that will actually save it to disk as well. So here we see WPT2. We added the suffix 2 to it. Let's save it. And success. So the code was successfully generated and copied to the clipboard. Furthermore, see here we have the one from the website, and then down here, ProfTgt 2. This is the strategy we just created. So this one is the one we just created. I'm sorry. This one is the one from the website. It's over here. And this one is the one we just created. It's on the left. And the only difference between what's on the website and what we created are some colors. So the fast moving average, we chose blue, and we chose dark blue for the slow moving average. Just a couple colors different. That's it. And we have saved it to disk, so we see it in our My Algos folder. It's on your computer in this folder in Windows Explorer. And we've generated the code and we've copied it to clipboard. Let's go ahead and now that it's on the clipboard, let's go to the Easy Language Editor. Let's get this into TradeStation. And let's go ahead and say new and new strategy. And let's call it QMA profit from scratch, as in built from scratch. And let's right click and let's paste the code from the clipboard into the document. So we did it. Let's go ahead and compile it. Success. And now we can go ahead and add this strategy to a chart in TradeStation so we can backtest it. So open TradeStation. Let's create and remember the color. So here we have yellow and green. Let's create a new chart. And we will say daily. And we will right click and let's go ahead and add the strategy from scratch we just created. So add strategy. QMA profit from scratch. We just created that from scratch. And we're going to customize it. Looks good. We'll keep these the same. We will plot 1,000 bars back, not 100. We will set the commission per share or contract to $4.95. We will set the position slippage to a per share contract to $12.50 for a $25 slippage round trip. And just in case we decide to optimize later, let's go ahead and change this maximum number of bars back to 200. Say OK. And we're ready to do it. Let's do it. Let's add it to a chart to run a backtest. Done. And you know, it's stopping here because we only have a year or two back. So let's go ahead and add a lot of years. Let's go back many, many years. Great. So now it goes back a lot of years. And at some point, when we get to 1,000 bars back, our indicators will stop being printed. There they are. So this must be 1,000 bars back right here. And what you could do is you could add the QEMA indicators, the visual indicators from TradeStation manually, the way I mentioned earlier, and the way that's described in detail in our 1-hour Introduction to Quagensia T Edition video. And that way you could have the indicators, they would start right here and they just keep on going back forever. Okay, great. So, and here we have remember we had the aqua color fast moving average and the blue color slow moving average. It's done. And here we have so here we had a long entry signal, the last one on the chart. Let's take a look at it. See how it says long entry signal, close price 4447 spot 0, and I'm sure that's what it is. Yep, 4447 spot 0. Great. Let's zoom out again. So, and here we have all the debugging information that we made. See all this stuff. We say what the profit target amount was. It was $8,894 using close price instead of entry price for profit target calculation. In this case, true. And see the next bar. So this is a long entry bar. It was the August 23rd bar. This is also the August 23rd bar's debug info printout. So here, up here, it was inside of the if block where it did a long entry, and the bar is the August 23rd bar. Here is the August 23rd bar, and it's the debugging info that prints out all the profit target calculation components. So in this case, the entry bar, yes, it is the close price instead of entry price, but for the next bar, where it's no longer the entry bar, the using close price instead of entry price for profit target calculation is false, because it's using the fill price that is available, the bar after the signal bar. So that's that. So, and we have the vertical lines we created, we have the indicators, we see some profit targets. We're also going to see some reversals. Let's go ahead and zoom in and find some reversals. Here you go. So in this case, there's a short entry, it lost money, and because moving average, the fast moving average crossed below the slow moving average, but then it lost money and the fast moving average crossed above the slow moving average, so it entered long without hitting a profit target because it lost money. But then this time, this long entry, due to the fast moving average crossing above the slow moving average, actually the position exited at a 4% profit because it hit its profit target. And then you have a fast cross below slow again, you have a short entry, and so forth. So sometimes you have a reversal, in this case from short to long. Sometimes you exit a position with a profit target. And the profit target could be for a long entry, for a long position, or here we have one where there were some reversals. It reversed from short to long, it lost money, and then it went from long to short, it lost money again. But then this short position right here actually exited at a 4% profit because it hit its profit target. So now that we've looked at our strategy visually by applying it to a chart, let's go ahead and look at the actual backtest results. In the main menu, click on Data and Strategy Performance Report. And it looks like our strategy had a profit factor of 1.23, so pretty mediocre as is. But the purpose of this video was not to create a great strategy that backtests well. It was to create a point-and-click TradeStation strategy in Quagensia T Edition to show you how it's done and to show you some of the features of Quagensia T Edition that you will use in your own Quagensia T Edition point-and-click strategies. That's the end of our video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please let us know by giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel. And if you loved it, please consider sharing this video. Have a great day.